What's up out there to all my learned magic friends? My name is Jeff Kowalk, and you are watching Erudite Magic. The word of the day today is utilitarian. Sub Rosa by Ariel Frailich. A wide variety of magic and mentalism effects for stage and close-up, based on an easy-to-master utility move. One of the people who watches this show fairly regularly is Ariel Frailich out of Toronto, Ontario. He runs a small company called I Saw That. He's published a number of books and other interesting magical products. He suggested that I might enjoy his book, Sub Rosa, which is self-printed, so he had one printed and sent it to me for review. Ta-da! So, like it says on the ad copy on the back, it's simple, direct, suitable for stage, parlor, and close-up, and is equally at home in magic and mentalism. All true statements. He gives you quite the list on the back of the different ways that this could be applied: cards or bills and cigarettes, linking finger rings, color separations, predictions and divinations, torn and restored effects, coin and bottle, paper to bill effect, color-changing knives, paddle routines, Brahma nut, and similar. You've got predictions, divinations, coincidences, book tests, headline predictions, linking pins, 7 keys to bald plate, and so much more. So what is the book? It's approximately 170 pages for one utility move. Yes, you heard that correctly. One utility move. It is a fundamentally simple move, one that has admittedly been around for a long time. When you read this book, you'll feel like you might have seen this before, but you can't quite place your finger on where you've actually read it. And that's probably because you haven't read it. This move, or a variation of it, essentially allows you to switch one object for another. If that doesn't excite you, 1, you're probably not a mentalist, and 2, you don't have much imagination. That's one thing that this book has in spades, is lots of imagination. The first 20 or so pages of the book are devoted to giving you the details of the sleight. There's not really a whole lot to it, and as one review that I read suggested, he didn't really think it would fly. But there's a lot of information put in the rest of those 20 pages associated with misdirection and ways to deploy this that will be completely fooling. I have no doubt after reading this that this would definitely fly in a real-world situation. Now, if you already own Switchcraft, you're going to love a book like this. While Switchcraft gives you a lot of different switches and quite a few effects using those switches, this gives you one basic switch, but lots of variations of it. I really don't want to give too much away here. I feel like it would be unfair to Ariel and the book itself if I demoed or told you exactly what this is, but suffice it to say, it's an easy to learn, simple to do switch. It can be done with cards, cigarettes, billets, rings, balls, knives, decks, envelopes, pens, etc. You get the picture. Anytime you need to switch one item for another, this is going to be your move. While the move itself can be done close-up, parlor, stage, doesn't really matter, most of the routines in here are going to be more for that parlor style performance, and I'm guessing that's because that must be where Ariel finds himself performing most of the time. Now, there's lots of close-up stuff, and everything in here could be easily adapted to close-up, but I don't know that it's written from that perspective. I'd like to thank Don's Magic and Books for sponsoring this episode of Erudite Magic. Don has a tremendous selection of books, both new and used, on his website, and offers them at great prices with exceptional customer service. Right now, he's offering my viewers a 10% off coupon if you use the code Erudite. I will link to it down below, so all you have to do is click the link to get the discount, or if you don't click the link, you can apply the code Erudite in all caps to get 10% off your entire order. Thanks to Don's Magic and Books for partnering with us to bring you more erudite magic. Now, where's the real meat in this book? The real meat in the book is going to be the 100+ pages of effects that he gives you. And there are so many effects. There are things with coins, keys, ESP cards, bills, handkerchiefs, business cards. There's routines with pretty much everything. He has thrown a lot into this book. And it seems obvious to me that he has used this quite a bit in real life. It's one of those utility moves that you'll find lots of uses for. I certainly wouldn't build a whole show around it, but I think it has a place in every show. Not only that, Ariel's thrown a lot of extras into here. So one of the routines has to do with the old Glorpy and a spirit writing something on a business card. And even though it has nothing to do with the sleight, he's given you a way to make a scratching sound coming from the table while the Glorpy is doing its work. Like I said, that wasn't his intent or his focus, but there's lots of little extras like that that would be born of actual performances that you could tell he has put a lot of time and thought into this book. And it's not simply just throwing a bunch of stuff in here for the sake of throwing it in. In fact, these are all real world items. Further proving that these are things that Ariel actually uses in shows, he's given you a lot of his lines for these effects. He has what I'll affectionately refer to as a corny sense of humor. So if that's your thing, you're definitely going to get some lines from this book. Regardless, the extras, while it's not the focus, you're going to get more than you bargained for with this. The vast majority of the book is shorter, varied presentations using a variety of props. He's given you a lot of different ideas for things that you probably already do, and you get a bare bones presentation or ways that you could deploy the switch. However, there's also a section with 7 longer routines that are specifically designed around this switch. They're more involved with an integral story. They're true production pieces. And although the presentations could play well in almost any situation, I think most of them were designed for parlor use. So after he describes the sleight itself, gives you dozens upon dozens of uses for the sleight in terms of tricks and applications, he then goes on to give you a section dealing with gimmicks and gaffes. These gimmicks and gaffes supplement the basic move and make it even more deceptive or take it in ways that couldn't be done with the switch by itself. For example, some of these may include building an index that you can use with this version of the sleight so that you'll have multiple outs for certain routines that you want. So what did I like about the book? I definitely like the move itself. As a mentalist, I could see myself using this, and in the applications I've seen before of a similar style move, it's been one of my favorites. So I love how easy it is to do. I also love that there are so many things to trigger your thinking. I really do feel that this move is limited only by your imagination. It can be applied to just about anything. I love that if you're new to magic or mentalism, he's given you a lot of presentations you can use straight out of the book. And I love that if you're more experienced like I am, you're going to take the sleight and apply it in your own ways. And he's included a lot of footnotes and paths that you could travel because he's borrowed routines or plots with permission. He's giving you headnotes or footnotes to tell you where he got this from and maybe where you could find other information on that routine or effect if it interests you. As much as I liked it, there are a few things that I would like to point out to people who are considering buying it. One is that it can be slightly overwhelming. Within the routines, there's not a ton of breakdown or organizational structure, so you're pretty much just going to have to read through it or skim it to see if it has what you're looking for. Now, again, it's because the utility itself, I think, becomes obvious how you could use it. But if you're looking for specific applications in the book, it wasn't the easiest to go through everything. There isn't an index, but there is a table of contents. Because it uses so many different props, I would have loved to have seen the index with the different props so that you could quickly find what you were looking for in the book. I also wish there was more history on the origins of the effect, where Ariel found it in either video or distant cousin sleights that probably aren't the same because I do think this is unique in print. As old as the sleight is, I understand why it's not included. I just would have liked to have seen more. If you're not a mentalist, don't worry about that. This is not restricted to mentalism. There's even a way that he has found to incorporate the sleight into a cups and balls routine. There are plenty of other applications, including a way to replace your shuttle pass for the coin guys out there. We've talked about different reference works, and this is a reference work in a different type of way. Most of the time, you'll be looking at a certain plot, and you'll find lots of different ways to accomplish that plot when you have a reference. This is a reference piece the other way. You have a sleight, and this is a huge compilation of everything you can do with that sleight. I don't know that it's completely exhaustive, and he's even posted some things on the Magic Cafe of further ideas as he comes up with them. So certainly when you get this, it's a little bit like Switchcraft in that it keeps going. If you are buying this because you're a mentalist and you want to look at the Switch, I think you're better off buying Switchcraft first. I'm not telling you not to buy this, but Switchcraft at $20 is really hard to beat if what you're looking for is some sort of billet switch. However, I think that if you continue to evolve your interest in billet work or switch work, I think this makes a logical step number 2 for that type of material. The book is quite affordable. It's about $35, which I think is just right for the value that it provides. A solid, easy to do, utilitarian sleight that will help you switch one object for another invisibly with a bunch of different applications. As always, I appreciate you watching, liking, subscribing, and telling your friends about this channel. It really means a lot and always helps. Until next time, all my erudite friends, keep reading.